Sorry, the show's a bit late. I got a doctor's appointment this morning, and I thought I was going to get up at the normal time and do a lengthier show. Didn't turn out to be the case because I am a retard. That being said, welcome to the Associated Guests. I am as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. This is the Friday show. Again, I was going to do a lengthier show this morning and then do a lengthier show tomorrow, but now I'm going to do the lengthiest of all lengthy shows tomorrow morning, and I'll just throw a couple of spots here today. But first, we're going to get into this. Steven Crowder does a little reenactment of things from the ICE agent's perspective in Minneapolis. So let's go to him with that.
All right, from here I can't see the wheel. He draws his gun, and then
And the reason he's doing this is because a lot of people, and if you're keeping as close a track on this as I am, most people aren't, but people have kind of shifted the goalpost on what they're going to bitch about. And you see this on the left and the right. And oddly, a bunch of people on the right are siding with the protester, which is fun. You'd think they'd be against it, but it is what it is. I personally don't give a fuck what the left or the right says about anything. I have my own opinions. I look at all the evidence. I watch people on the left and the right, and then I determine who's more retarded, basically. But on this, people are saying that he clearly could have seen that the wheels were facing him. This is before the Krasnstein started saying that the wheel was clearly to the right. But yeah, so this is Steven Crowder disproving that.
yeah, you try and hit it, but you couldn't see it with a wide angle lens compared to the human eye, let alone adrenaline. So there are quite a few people saying this. This is the one that got the most traction. Well, the wheels are aimed away from the officer, so he should see that.
Oh, that's what it was.
He could have easily seen that as a clear sign of intent. Here's Don Winslow writing about that. The wheels are fully turned away from the officer.
And on this, it fully depends on where you're looking. I can see them thinking that, but go look at the slow-mo video yourself. I'll probably play it during the show tomorrow. But look at the tail lights as they disengage, and then look while the tire's still to the left, not here, but slightly before this, and you'll see the tire spin out while it's still facing to the left into the cop. And then to get traction, she turns it to the right, and also to escape without running over said fucker. But yeah.
Officer, watch in slow-mo. We will. No intention, in my opinion, to hit anyone. Sole intention based on wheel/steering wheel to leave that scene, not a threat. Look at the wheel. Well, here's the truth. They were aimed at the officer. I don't know if you know. That's why she hit him. The wheels do then turn, which this officer would have had to witness within 0.79 seconds. That's how long it took from his weapon being drawn and the wheels being turned while she was already on a trajectory to hit him. 0.79 seconds is about how long it took. It would take place.
The definition of a split second.
The definition of a split second. And so
And some people I've also seen have said that he would have heard the wheels turning. True, that is a possibility, but that's also after he heard her spinning out on the ice as she accelerated while the wheels were still facing the left.
we decided to find the closest vehicle that we could to recreate this scenario. Exact angle, exact distance. I'll be the officer. Josh will be the attempted vehicular homicide assailant. And I can put this one to bed. Again, it matters because the goalposts have been moved, right? They started off with she didn't hit anyone. But we'll go through all of them as to remove all doubt. Here you go.
And that is true. They did start off by saying she didn't hit him. And then when people started analyzing the video, and this is, look, you're allowed to have opinions, okay? But you can't act on your opinions like a lot of these people are without knowing all the facts. You have to break it down. You have to either analyze it yourself or wait till some unbiased analytic person breaks it down and does it for you. I have no talent, but I'm fairly reasonable, and I overanalyze everything. I, however, don't have the technical prowess to do it myself. It's easy to slow things down, but I mean, especially when you zoom in, video compression is a motherfucker. But especially, I just want to say, guys, when you're filming these things, I understand a lot of you are doing it for TikTok and clicks and all that, but film in landscape with your phone to the side like a real fucking person or a real journalist would.
Draw your own conclusions. I'm at the exact distance, exact angle where he would be. Should be able to see the wheel turn.
Okay, so he's clearly got a body cam
fraction of a second, right? I've chosen
on right
to
there,
use
about the
a
same
tiny
place the
little
cops would have been.
loaded, with a laser so you can see. So he's right here. All right, from here I can't see the wheel. He draws his gun, and then yeah, you try and hit me now. She comes forward a little bit. Okay. There you go. That's enough. Collapses. He has his hand. Can you just move the wheels a bunch, like go left to right? So.
I mean, you can see the.
There's no chance. There's no chance. You can't see it.
And again, people are saying that you should see this in the heat of the moment. Again, after she spun out, that probably would have got his blood pumping a little bit, thus him reaching for his firearm. Again, we can argue all day as to whether or not he should have drawn. I think if the roads weren't icy, two things. One, he wouldn't have had time to pull his gun because he would have been run the fuck over. And two, even if, say, her car sucks like mine, and she had spun out even on a completely dry, iceless road. Even if that had happened, I think he would have been able to get out of the way, and I don't think he would have drawn. Or, and this is something I'll get into on the show tomorrow. It just came to my attention while I was making Boom Boom and studying for this very topic. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. But apparently, it's come out that sorry, I lost my train of thought while I was. I'm such a dipshit. Yeah, it's gone. I'll think of it later. Apologies. Continuing. What is? Oh, was there a big black screen?
Minutes there, Toolman.
Wow.
Okay, there was 2 minutes of
2
black
minutes of
there.
black?
That's fun.
There was a minute of black in the end.
Oh, good.
Like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Just found a way to fit a little racism in there.
Sounds like a Jordan Peele movie. A Minute of Black.
Yes, exactly.
1 minute till black.
19 awards. Here, by the way, is the bullet hole in the front of the windshield. So you know that, I believe you have that overlay B6, so you know that the first shot went through the front of the windshield, okay? As it was coming around. Now, here's why that matters. You see that there, and keep in mind that...
And again, people said that he only shot into the side of the car, which, if that was the case, would it have still been justified? The answer is maybe. It depends on where it gets tried. And these days, and this is the sad state of affairs that we live in, if it had been tried in a conservative court, 100%, they would have deemed it legal. If it had been tried in one of these activist judges' leftist courts, it would have been absolutely proven that the cop goes to jail. And as far as unbiased judges, I mean, it depends on the evidence, and that's a long conversation that we can have. But since that front hole is there, giggity, then there's no denying he was in front of the car. He may or may not have been in fear for his life, and whether or not her intent to kill him was there, the fact is she did slam on the gas, whether it was to get away or to run him over. again, sans this ice on the road, the solid state of water, not the agent, the cop would have been pretty injured. Not severely, because from a stop, it depends. Mostly on the actions of the person getting run over. As someone who's been hit by a car a couple of times, because I piss people off that much, especially when I was young. Yeah, it all depends. Best option, dive out of the way if you have the time. If not, just jump straight up and hope for the best. I had a little rodeo on the windshield. I was holding onto the windshield wipers, and thankfully they didn't work, at least not after I was done with them.
GoPro is aimed down. That camera is aimed down where he would not be looking. And you could not see the tires move. It gets even worse when you understand that most officers and a lot of the military, they're taught one of two different ways. You know, there's a whole argument in the gun community, they're very autistic, about front sight focus or target focus. That's why people kind of move to red dots. If you ask any good shooters, they'll say it's a mix of both, right? If you focus on the front sight, the target's a little bit blurry. And if you focus on the target, the sight is a little bit blurry. Depending on the distance, you might pick one or the other. Usually it's a hybrid. And the reason that matters is because it changes your peripheral vision. So you couldn't see it with a wide angle lens compared to the human eye, let alone adrenaline and potential. Focusing as trained on that front sight. Let me show you what that actually looks like and how it affects your vision. Rear sight, front sight, target.
Why is it?
That
I mean, I
also
understand, because I
more
also don't
similar
like
to the
Gerald. But
angle of his vision.
Why is that me?
That's all we had. Hey, if you're still watching this, you may be one of the
okay,
6
so that was
million
pretty interesting. Anyway, moving on to Tim Walz's response to, if this is the one, if I grab the right one, oh boy, get ready.
Good afternoon. Today I'm joined by Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson, Colonel Schaefer of the Minnesota National Guard, and Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV.
That's a gross oversimplification. Look, I don't like a lot of the rhetoric that Trump puts out, especially after the incident that happened here. Him and, was it Nome? Is that the girl with too much plastic surgery that's leading ICE? I think so. I don't like the things that they said after this. Let me just be real clear about that. It was a gross exaggeration, and when you inflate the events as Trump and Nome have, albeit he might be doing it more so off of the words of her, but again, that's just speculation on my part. I don't like the rhetoric at all. That being said, the rhetoric coming from the other side is far worse. When you've been told that the people on the other side are gross fascist Nazis, I mean, when you think that your country's being overrun by Nazis, given, you know, of course, the stigma of the Nazis because of what they did during World War II and leading up to it, I mean, what would you do if you really thought that you were being taken over by someone like that? I mean, I know what I would do. Who wouldn't? The difference is whether or not you believe the rhetoric or not. And they're not only calling the right, and they're most of them, especially politicians like Tim Walz, call them all to the right. And he's called on people to bully people. He's called on people to be loud and violent to the other side. Not all people on the left are like this. There's still a lot of liberal politicians that I very much enjoy. And I will never be a conservative by any stretch of the imagination. I have things I'm conservative about. I have things I'm liberal about. But just seeing all the rhetoric and the violence that's come from the left in the last 10 years, it's kind of stark. And the lengths that they've gone to not cover it on most of the news, you have to find most of these videos online. And people keep saying, oh, it's AI. AI has literally existed to the extent to where it's easy to confuse with reality in some extents. AI is most effectively used to alter what's actually occurring. But as far as fabricating whole events, I mean, come on. Andy Ngo himself has been beat up many times, and he's an Asian dude who has filmed Antifa for the last 10 years. He wrote a book about it. I have it somewhere. It's a read, I'll tell you. It's not a page turner, but it's interesting.
And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to
No, not that recklessness. Yours. I'm willing to call a spade, and I'm always willing to, as I've just did a minute ago, point out the fact that, yes, the Trump administration does do a lot of things that I find disturbing. But that's about the extent of it. Look, all this comes to what your definition and what your stance on certain policies are. If you're for immigration, you don't see anything wrong with this. If you're anti-immigration, you see something wrong with it. The real thing you need to realize is neither one of these people care about you, the left or the right. The left, they don't care about these people either. They're bringing them in simply for votes. And as you can see in Minnesota, he's using them to extort billions of dollars. Whether or not he was the head of the fraud, he damn sure knew about it because it's been brought to his attention, and that was originally going to be the the show yesterday until this happened. Yeah, it was, but yeah, he damn sure was aware of it. And I might still pull that one back out and do a little quick show of it over the weekend. But let's continue.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But you cannot put your personal feelings into your politics. Love this state. We won't let them
No, you don't.
We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully as you always do.
And that right there, because this is the one I was talking about, that's the only thing that he said. Yes, protesting is 100% fine. You should protest if you feel strongly that something is wrong, if your government is wronging you in some way, or if you're doing it on behalf of other people. That's 100% fine. Peacefully. You can be peaceful. But that's it. Anything beyond that is not a protest. It's pretty much a riot. If you start throwing things at people, so on and so forth, and I don't know if we'll get into. I've got some clips in store for tomorrow's show of some of the stuff that happened after George Floyd and so on and so forth. People running people down with their cars. Running cops down with their cars. Not even cops doing anything. Just some of them just standing on the side of the road. Some of them, sure, they're involved in some kind of arrest. But that's not right either. And you can argue conservatives for some reason have come out and started trying to push back on the George Floyd incident now that the temperature's cooled or they took over or for whatever reason they're doing it. And it's something that, look, whether or not you think that, because yes, Chauvin was not the first officer on the scene, he just happened to be the one who was doing the hold. And again, his police department threw him under the bus because there's videos and there's plenty of evidence showing that that was the policy of the police department at the time. You can argue till you're blue in the face that the police department had a bad policy, but he was doing what he was trained to do. And it was proven that he died of George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. But it's not a good look to pull this back out. And it started with Candace Owens, and anything that starts with Candace Owens, it's not a good look.
We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on their side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team.
And that is the scary part. He's pulling out all the resources that Minnesota has. He's pulling out the police, all the different agencies of law enforcement in Minnesota. He's going to have them stand in the way of ICE engagement. That's how it starts, man. Look, again, you can argue for and against immigration. You can argue whether or not Trump's doing too much or too little if you're a conservative. But this is escalation. This does not help. You're going to have people fighting in the streets, and they're going to have the backing of their own law enforcement. A lot of people are going to die. I don't want that. Nobody should want that. But when you view the other side of an argument or the other side of politics as pure evil, it's depressing. It gets me to say things and care about things when I don't like doing either of those things. I like shit talking. I like making jokes. This stuff scares me, man. I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not in Minnesota. Mostly because most people from Minnesota are retarded. I'm just going to throw it out there. They are. And I'm not just saying that because my mom's second retard husband was from Minnesota, but also because of that.
And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota...
So tell them not to interfere. That's all you have to do. You don't have to escalate all this. All you can do is tell people not to interfere, not to intervene, not to get in the way. And that's it. But you don't care about your people. You care about headlines. And that's all they are to you. Every time someone assaults a police officer or interferes with a police investigation, that's a headline for you, because now your side of the aisle can say, oh, they're arresting American citizens. But you say it without context. And then people automatically go into it. And no matter what you say, even if you tell them the truth, they're still saying they're arresting American citizens for no reason. I've seen it too many times.
The National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're not taking the bait. You're the one that cast the original bait.
We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information.
And with that sweater and that hair, you definitely look like a masturbator.
Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Thank you, Governor.
Hey, it looks like someone freeze-dried Rob
As the Governor
Reiner.
mentioned, my name is Bob Jacobson.
Too soon?
It is my honor to serve as the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. First of all, I want to acknowledge the reason that we are all here.
Because your rhetoric got someone
Loss of
killed?
life is not anything anyone would ever want.
Eh.
We fully expect that the community will want to peacefully demonstrate their anger or frustration.
Yes, the community wants to peacefully demonstrate after one of them was killed, while not too peacefully demonstrating.
Minnesota residents and visitors have the right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and certainly a desire to be heard. Our role is to help ensure everyone can express themselves without anyone getting hurt. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's role through the Minnesota State Patrol is to ensure safety, protect constitutional rights, keep roads accessible, and above all, to prevent harm. Our top priority is public safety.
It's not,
Our
though.
focus is keeping demonstrators.
That's what you're going to say in the press conferences. But you can say whatever you want in press conferences.
Community members, drivers, and law enforcement safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. Demonstrations must remain safe and lawful, particularly around roadways. We will join with our partners
Quit
to support
nodding, Tim.
safety while respecting the right to protest. With that in mind, I'd like to share a few safe and lawful ways to demonstrate.
Oh, let's demonstrate these.
Minnesotans can safely and legally express their views in many ways, including getting together peacefully with others in public spaces, marching or walking, not on roadways, making
They're going to walk on roadways.
your voice heard through chants, speeches, and displaying signs, being present in public areas where pedestrians are allowed, gathering in designated or permitted areas, and these actions will allow people to express themselves while protecting the safety of everyone involved. Unsafe or illegal actions could result in fines or arrests.
But they won't. Even the even when they behave violently, they don't get arrested. Or they get arrested and they get released automatically.
Behaviors create serious hazards that threaten public safety, disrupt emergency services, or put people at risk. These actions could result in fines or arrests.
All right. I very much like this guy so far.
On foot.
Let's go ahead and fast forward. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the question and answer portion.
Yeah, and I can let General Schaefer talk about this. It so happens it's a training weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our sites, training sites across the state. What it is, and in the National Guard, you give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would need, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I could let the General talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since the summer of 2020, we had a lot of work done on teams being ready to make sure that civil unrest. And what that means, and I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me, the desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need. Simon, you want to say a few things about what that means to have them on the ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. So for the military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen. We live all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that is ready at all times, and maybe some additional phone calls to service members who might be activated but nothing, no activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the Operations Center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
And I would make note, Mary, and to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you.
The way that white people talk about sports, especially black athletes.
Okay, and unfortunately, and again, I'm sorry that I got on late. Again, I'm a retard. I can't help this. This is for anyone, for the 4 people who are in here pretty much every day, and for all of you who pop in and out and watch this after. You know this, right? But anyway, that being said, everything else is going to... Why do they do this? Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank you for coming and watching this. Please just come in tomorrow and see what I have prepared for you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to go through some bits from some of the more researched people that I could find. Nux, Crowder, maybe 1 or 2 others. Again, they are, well, while Nux is heavily biased, he's also very well researched, and everything that he puts up, I pretty much, I do a thorough investigation to make sure that while what he says is wrapped up in his own rhetoric, what he shows is not so much. And then Crowder, he just speaks the facts. And I very much appreciate that. He leaves all emotion out of it. For the most part, he cracks a few jokes because he's a comedian, allegedly. And, yeah, I find them both very interesting. But anyway, that being said, thank you all for showing up. As always, I have been your host, Alfie Animus. Y'all have a good day. Wish me luck on what I got to do today. And, yeah, we'll see you in the